The house stopped feeling like mine somewhere around February, though I kept paying the mortgage like a man who believed in receipts more than feelings. I'm Caleb Ward, 34. I coordinate facilities and safety for a hospital network, which means I'm the guy who knows where every camera points, every access badge swipes, every vendor signs in. People treat me like furniture until something breaks, then suddenly I'm essential for 8 minutes. My wife Maren is a hospital administrator, rising star, polished. The kind of woman who can smile at donors while mentally calculating quarterly projections. She's 32 and looks like someone who reads leadership books and highlights passages about strategic positioning. We've been married 6 years. The first 3 were good. The second 3 were a slow replacement of conversations with scheduling conflicts. Tonight, I'm standing in our kitchen making coffee I don't want, watching Maren scroll through her phone with the focused intensity of someone solving a crisis or planning one. She's wearing her work clothes even though it's 8 at night, gray blazer, white blouse, the armor of professional ambition. I have that vendor dinner Thursday, she says without looking up. Probably late. Which vendor? I ask. Medical devices. You wouldn't know them. The dismissal is casual, practiced, like I'm a child asking about adult business. I don't push. I learned months ago that pushing gets you labeled insecure or controlling, and suddenly you're the problem instead of the question you asked. I pour the coffee. Add cream. Notice the second phone charger in her purse on the counter. It's not ours, different brand, white instead of black. My brain does what it always does. Logs the detail, cross-references, waits for pattern confirmation. I work in systems, doors that should lock, cameras that should record, protocols that should be followed. I'm good at noticing when things are out of place, when the pattern breaks. Maren's pattern has been breaking for weeks. The vendor dinners started in January. 3 in February, 4 in March. Her calendar has blocks marked VR now, which I know stands for vendor relations, but the frequency is weird. Hospital administrators don't usually have that many vendor meals. That's a purchasing department thing. I don't say anything. I sip coffee that tastes like ashes and think about how betrayal probably starts like this for everyone. Small details that don't make sense until they suddenly make perfect sense. You're quiet tonight, Maren says, still not looking up from her phone. Tired, I tell her. Long day fixing cameras in the parking deck. The sound she makes is the verbal equivalent of a door closing. I watch her type something. Her thumbs move fast. She smiles slightly, not at me, at the screen. That's when I realize I've already started building a case file in my head. Dates, times, locations, the mental spreadsheet of a man who knows he's being lied to but hasn't decided what to do about it yet. The second phone charger sits there in her purse like evidence waiting to be collected. I don't touch it. I don't ask. I just memorize the brand and the fact that it's there. Later, after Maren goes upstairs to catch up on emails, I sit in the living room in the dark and think about how invisible I've become in my own house. The guy who fixes things, the guy who pays half the bills but gets talked through instead of talked to. I could confront her, demand answers, start the fight that ends with tears and accusations and maybe a confession that changes nothing because the trust is already gone. Or I could wait, gather information, understand the full picture before I decide what it's worth. I choose waiting. Not because I'm scared, because I'm angry. And angry men who rush make mistakes. I work in systems. Systems have rules. Rules have consequences. If Maren is breaking the rules, I need to know exactly how before I decide what those consequences should be. The thought scares me a little, the calm calculation of it. The way I'm already thinking like an investigator instead of a husband. But maybe that's what happens when your wife stops treating you like a partner and starts treating you like an obstacle to be scheduled around. I turn off the lights and go upstairs. Maren is asleep or pretending to be. I lie there in the dark and think about parking deck cameras and vendor sign-in sheets and hotel key sleeves that might be hiding in coat pockets. I think about systems and how they work, and how people who forget they're being watched always get caught eventually. Sleep doesn't come easy, but planning does. I tell myself I'm not going to spy. I'm just going to pay attention. There's a difference, right? Paying attention is noticing your wife's calendar suddenly blocks out 3-hour chunks marked VR on nights she used to be home. Paying attention is seeing a hotel key sleeve in her coat pocket when you hang it up because she left it on the floor again. Spying would be going through her phone, hacking her email, following her car. I don't do any of that. I just observe. I log. I wait for the pattern to become undeniable. Monday morning, I find a receipt in the cup holder of Maren's car. I'm not snooping. I'm looking for her insurance card because mine expired and I need to drop off documents. The receipt is from a restaurant downtown, Italian place, expensive. 2 entrees, 2 glasses of wine, 1 dessert. The date is from last Thursday, the night she had a late compliance meeting. I take a photo of the receipt with my phone, not to use against her, just to remember I'm not imagining things. At work, I do my rounds, checking access points, reviewing security logs, making sure the vendor entrance protocols are being followed. That's when I see his name, Derek Vale. He's a medical device sales rep. I recognize the company from Maren's mentioned vendor dinners. He's signed in 7 times in the past month. That's not unusual. Sales reps visit hospitals constantly. What's unusual is the timing. 3 of his sign-ins match dates when Maren had late meetings. 2 more match weekend work events she attended without me. I don't jump to conclusions. Correlation isn't causation, but my brain is already building the case file. And this is evidence whether I want it to be or not. I remember Derek from last year's hospital holiday party. Tall, good-looking in that generic sales rep way where the confidence is louder than the personality. He wore a suit that probably cost more than I make in a week and treated husbands like furniture that occasionally needs to be acknowledged to avoid being rude. He shook my hand, said something about supporting the backbone of operations, smiled like a man who's never been told no. Maren laughed at his jokes. I didn't think much of it then. Now I'm thinking about it constantly. Tuesday, I do something I swore I wouldn't. I check her car again. Not for evidence, just to confirm I'm crazy. There's a parking garage ticket in the glove box. Hospital deck. Level 3. Date. 2 weeks ago. Timestamp. 6:15 evening. Maren told me she worked from home that day. I hold the ticket in my hand and feel something cold settle in my chest. Not rage, not yet. Something colder than rage. Something that feels like the moment before you decide to stop caring about being the good guy. I put the ticket back, close the glove box. Go inside and make dinner like a man who isn't quietly dismantling his own denial. Thursday night, Maren leaves for another vendor dinner. She's dressed nicer than usual. New perfume. She kisses my cheek absently on her way out and tells me not to wait up. I don't follow her. That would be spying. And instead, I open my laptop and search social media. Not her profile. I'm smarter than that. I search location tags, event pages, public posts from the restaurant I know she's going to because I saw it on a calendar notification before she closed her screen too fast. 20 minutes later, I find it. A photo posted by someone I don't know. Background of a restaurant. Blurry. Tagged location matches. And there in the window reflection, Maren. Laughing. And next to her, slightly out of focus but unmistakable, is Derek Vale. I stare at that photo for 10 minutes. Then I save it. Screenshot, date stamp, location tag. Not for revenge. Not yet. Just for the file. The file that keeps growing in my head whether I want it to or not. I close the laptop. Sit in the dark living room. Feel the weight of knowing something you can't unknow. Maren comes home at 11. She smells like wine and cologne. That isn't mine. She tells me the dinner went well. She goes upstairs without asking about my day. I stay downstairs and think about systems, about consequences, about what happens when someone forgets the cameras are always recording. I don't explode. I don't confront. I feel something colder than anger starting to build. A plan. The shape of it still forming, but definite enough to feel like control returning. I'm not crazy. I'm not imagining it. I'm just the husband who's been paying attention while his wife forgot he knows how investigations work. The message comes at 11:30 on a Friday night. I'm half asleep on the couch, TV playing something I'm not watching, when my phone buzzes. Unknown number. The text is short. Go on a date with me. I stare at it. My first thought is spam. My second thought is some kind of scam. My third thought is that this is exactly how people get kidnapped in movies, except in real life kidnappers probably use better grammar. I type back, "What?" The reply is instant. "Your wife is dating my brother, so forget about her." I sit up, read it again, 3 times. The room feels smaller, the TV noise louder. My heart does something strange in my chest, like it's trying to decide between panic and relief. Relief wins, because at least now I know I'm not insane. My phone buzzes again. This is Nora Vale, Derek's sister. We met at the hospital party last year. I'm also Maren's friend, or I was until I found out what they've been doing. I remember Nora, gorgeous in a way that made other women look at their husbands to check if they were staring. Dark hair, sharp eyes. Maren called her work wife material and laughed about it. I type, "Why are you telling me?" Because Derek does this. He finds married women with access and collects them like trophies. Then he moves on and they're left dealing with the wreckage. I'm tired of cleaning up his messes. I want to throw the phone. I want to call Maren and demand answers. I want to drive to wherever Derek Vale lives and smash his perfect smile into something unrecognizable. Instead, I type, "What do you want?" To help you, if you want it. Derek's been using your wife to get around vendor protocols at the hospital. Undisclosed meetings, off-calendar access, gifts that should be reported. He's making her complicit in violations she doesn't even understand. That hits different than the affair. The affair is betrayal. Personal. Painful. But compliance violations? That's career destruction. That's the kind of thing that follows you everywhere. That's blacklist material. I think about Maren's fear of failure, her obsession with reputation, her carefully managed image of competence and professionalism. If she's mixed up in vendor protocol violations, exposure wouldn't just hurt her feelings. It would end her. Why would you burn your own brother? I type. Because he's been doing this for years, and nobody stops him, and because Maren might be a cheater, but she doesn't deserve to have her career tanked by his games. If you expose them the right way, she faces consequences but not ruin. Derek, though, he's got other complaints. A pattern. This might actually stick. I sit there holding my phone, trying to process. Nora sends another message. Meet me tomorrow. Coffee shop on 5th. 10 morning. I'll show you what I have. You decide what to do with it. I should say no. I should tell her this is insane. I should handle this like a reasonable adult who talks to his wife first and works through problems with communication and therapy. Instead, I type, I'll be there. Because the rage that's been building for weeks just found a direction. And the calm, calculating part of my brain that knows how systems work just realized I'm not powerless. I'm the guy who understands access points and paper trails and how documentation always wins. Maren is upstairs sleeping, or texting Derek, or planning her next vendor dinner. I don't care anymore. Tomorrow I stop being the furniture. Tomorrow I start being the problem they should have seen coming. I set my phone down, sit in the dark, think about Nora's warning about protocol violations, and I think about how Maren's biggest fear has never been getting caught cheating. It's been getting caught failing, publicly, professionally, permanently. I smile in the dark. Not from happiness, from something colder, something that feels like justice starting to take shape. I wake up at 6, make coffee, watch Maren get ready for work like it's any other morning. She's in her administrator armor, navy suit, pearl earrings, the perfume that costs more than my work boots. She checks her phone constantly, smiles at something I can't see. Big day? I ask. Board meeting this afternoon, she says. Probably running late. Vendor dinner after? She looks at me then, really looks at me, like she's trying to figure out if that's a normal question or a loaded one. No, she says carefully. Just the board meeting. I nod, sip my coffee, let the silence stretch. She leaves at 7:15. I wait 10 minutes. Then I gather the evidence I've been collecting, the hotel key sleeve, the restaurant receipt, the parking garage ticket, the screenshot of the reflected photo, the list of dates Derek signed in that match Maren's meetings. I don't need a lawyer for this. I just need her to see that I know, that I've known, that I've been building the case while she's been building her lies. At 9:30, I send her a text. We need to talk. Tonight. Non-negotiable. She replies immediately. About what? I don't answer. Let her spend the day wondering. At 10, I meet Nora at the coffee shop. She's sitting in the corner booth, laptop open, looking like someone who's done this before. She slides me a folder across the table. Dates, she says. Places. Screenshots of Derek bragging in our family group chat. Not confessions, just arrogance. Enough to show pattern and timing. I flip through the folder. It's all there. The Lakeside Conference Hotel reservations. The networking weekend that matched one of Maren's unexplained absences. A photo of Derek and Maren at a vendor mixer, standing too close. This is solid, I say. It gets better, Nora says. Derek's been sloppy. He's been using hospital access for personal meetings, taking Maren into restricted areas after hours, using vendor credentials to bypass security. None of it is criminal, but all of it violates hospital vendor protocols. And Maren's name is attached? Exactly. She signed him in twice. She's on camera with him in areas she shouldn't have given access to. If compliance reviews this, she's complicit. I feel something ugly and satisfied twist in my chest. Why are you doing this? I ask. Because Derek ruins people, Nora says. And I'm tired of pretending family loyalty matters more than decency. I close the folder. Look at her. What happens when he finds out you helped me? He'll be too busy dealing with his own problems to worry about me. I leave the coffee shop with the folder and a plan. At 6, Maren comes home. I'm waiting in the kitchen, no TV, no distractions, just me and the evidence spread across the table. She sees it immediately. Her face goes through 5 emotions in 3 seconds. Confusion, recognition, fear, anger, defense. "What is this?" she asks. "You tell me," I say calmly. "Hotel key sleeve from a place you never mentioned. Receipt from a restaurant on a night you said you had a compliance meeting. Parking garage ticket from a day you supposedly worked from home." "You went through my things?" "You left them in your car. I was looking for the insurance card." She picks up the hotel key sleeve, looks at it like it's a weapon. "This doesn't mean anything," she says. "Derek Vale," I say. "Medical device rep. Signed into the hospital 7 times in the last month. 3 of those dates match your late meetings. 2 match your weekend work events." Her jaw tightens. "You've been spying on me?" "I've been paying attention," I correct. "There's a difference." She tries the classic moves. Minimizing, reframing, turning it into my insecurity. "Caleb, you're being paranoid. Derek is a vendor contact. We have professional meetings. That's part of my job." "Does your job include giving him after-hours access to restricted areas?" I ask. "Because I pulled the security logs. You signed him in twice for off-calendar visits. That's a protocol violation." Her face changes. The fear gets real. "You wouldn't," she says. "Wouldn't what?" "Report it. You're bluffing." I slide the last piece of paper across the table. It's a formal vendor boundary incident report. Already filled out. Already submitted. "I filed it this morning," I say. "Not as your husband. As a facilities safety coordinator who noticed improper vendor access. Compliance gets flagged automatically." Maren stares at the paper like I just set her career on fire. "You didn't," she whispers. "I did. They'll review it within 48 hours. Your name is attached to both sign-ins. Derek's too, along with 3 other complaints about his vendor conduct." She sits down hard. Her hands are shaking. "Do you understand what you've done?" she asks. "Do you?" I reply. She looks at me then with something I've never seen before. Genuine fear. Not of me, of consequences she can't control. "This isn't about the affair," I say quietly. "Though yes, I know about Derek. I know about the dinners. I know about the Lakeside Hotel. I know about all of it. Caleb, this is about you thinking I was too stupid or too invisible to notice. About you using hospital access to help your boyfriend skirt vendor rules. About you turning me into furniture in my own house while you built a second life." "I didn't mean... I don't care what you meant," I cut her off. "I care that you forgot I work in systems, that I understand documentation, that I know how investigations work." My phone buzzes. Text from an unknown number in the compliance office. "Need your statement Monday morning. Please confirm availability." I show Maren the message. She looks like she might be ill. "You've destroyed me," she says. "No," I correct. "You destroyed yourself. I just filed the paperwork." I stand up, leave her sitting at the table with the evidence of her own choices. Upstairs, I pack a bag. Not because I'm leaving forever, because I need her to see that I'm not negotiating. I'm not begging. I'm done. When I come back down, she's still sitting there, staring at nothing. "One more thing," I say. "Derek's sister Nora? She helped me, because apparently even his own family is tired of cleaning up his messes." I leave her with that. Walk out to my car. Drive to a hotel that's cheap and clean and know where she'd think to look. I don't feel good. I don't feel victorious. I feel cold, focused, like a man who just lit the fuse and now has to see where the explosion lands. My phone buzzes again, Maren calling. I don't answer. The machine has started, and machines don't care about apologies. The coffee shop on 5th is busy enough for privacy, but public enough for safety. I picked the corner table. Nora arrives exactly on time, carrying a leather bag that looks expensive and a tired expression that doesn't. She sits, orders black coffee, waits for me to start. "Why did you really text me?" I ask. "I told you. Derek is a pattern disaster." "That's not enough," I say. "You could have warned Maren. You could have told Derek to stop. Instead, you went directly to the betrayed husband. Why?" Nora stirs her coffee slowly. "Because Maren stopped taking my calls after I asked questions. Because Derek laughed when I confronted him. And because I've watched him do this 3 times before, and every time, The woman gets blamed, and he walks away cleaner than he started. So this is revenge? This is correction, she says. There's a difference. I lean back, study her. She's calm, contained, the kind of person who makes decisions and lives with them. What do you want from me? I ask. I want Derek to face actual consequences, not just awkwardness, not just a quiet exit from someone's life, real professional consequences. And you'll help me build that case. I already started, she says. She pulls a folder from her bag, thicker than the first one. She slides it across the table, inside, printed emails showing Derek bragging about access points at multiple hospitals, screenshots of expense reports that list dinners and hotel stays that should have been disclosed. A photograph of Derek and Maren at the Lakeside Conference Hotel, time-stamped on a weekend Maren told me she was at a mandatory training. How did you get this? I ask. Derek likes to brag, Nora says. He thinks family loyalty means privacy. He's wrong. I've been collecting documentation for 6 months, since his last relationship ended badly and he started targeting hospital administrators. You knew about Maren. I suspected. I confirmed it 5 weeks ago when I saw them at a restaurant, and Maren pretended not to notice me. I flip through the folder. It's meticulous, organized, the kind of evidence that doesn't fall apart under scrutiny. This is a lot, I say. It's enough, Nora replies. Compliance violations, undisclosed gifts, improper access. Derek's been using his position to create leverage. He's not just a cheater, he's a liability. I look up. You understand what this will do to your brother? Yes. And you're fine with that? I'm fine with him finally experiencing consequences. Her expression doesn't change. He's 36 years old, and he's never faced a single professional penalty for anything. Someone has to be the adult. It's not going to be him. I respect that, the cold clarity of it. What are the rules? I ask. No illegal activity, Nora says immediately. No hacking, no fabricated evidence. Everything in that folder is real and obtained legally. If you add anything that isn't, I walk and you're on your own. Agreed. What else? Derek will try to intimidate you physically. He's done it before. Don't let him corner you alone. I work in a hospital. Cameras everywhere. Good. Use that. She pauses. There's something else you should know. The compliance review you triggered? Derek has 2 other complaints already filed. One from another hospital about inappropriate contact with staff, another about gift disclosure violations. Pattern evidence. Exactly. Your report was the 3rd strike. Compliance doesn't ignore patterns. I close the folder. Look at Nora. What happens to Maren? That depends on what she did. If she knowingly violated protocols, she faces disciplinary action. If Derek manipulated her into violations without her understanding, she might survive with a formal warning. You think she knew? Nora meets my eyes. I think she knew enough. Maren is smart. She's ambitious. She wouldn't risk her career unless she thought she could control the narrative. And now she can't? Now the narrative controls itself? We sit in silence for a moment. The coffee shop noise fills the space between us. One more thing, Nora says. The Hospital Foundation Gala is in 3 weeks. Derek will be there. His company sponsors a table. Maren will be there because administrators are required to attend. It's public, formal, and heavily documented. Why are you telling me this? Because if you're going to end this, that's the stage. Maximum visibility, minimum deniability. I think about that. A gala, donors, board members, cameras and witnesses, and professional reputations on full display. You've thought about this, I say. I've been watching Derek operate for years, Nora replies. I know how he works. I know his weaknesses. And I know the only way to stop him is to make his behavior cost him something he actually cares about. His reputation. His access, she corrects. Derek doesn't care if people think he's immoral. He cares if institutions refuse to work with him. She finishes her coffee, stands, leaves a business card on the table. That's my direct line. Use it if you need more documentation or if Derek escalates. She pauses. And Caleb? I'm not trying to be your friend. I'm trying to end a problem. Don't confuse the two. She leaves. I sit there with the folder and the business card and the cold understanding that I've just allied with someone who's as calculated as I'm becoming. The revenge I'm building isn't rage-fueled, it's architectural. 3 parts: home exposure, professional consequences, public humiliation. Maren gets the first. Derek gets all 3. And I get to be the man who remembers that systems have rules, rules have enforcement, and enforcement doesn't care about charm. Maren tells me she's attending a vendor retreat at the Lakeside Conference Hotel. Mandatory. 2 days. Professional development. She says it on Thursday night like it's routine, like I haven't already seen the registration list on the hospital network showing the retreat ended Wednesday afternoon. I don't argue. I don't ask questions. I just nod and tell her to drive safe. Friday morning, I make arrangements of my own. The conference hotel is 40 minutes outside the city. Off-season location. The kind of place that hosts corporate events in the fall and sits mostly empty in the spring. It's part of the hospital network's preferred vendor list, which means I have legitimate access for facilities inspections. I call the hotel manager, tell him I need to do a routine safety walkthrough for our network compliance audit. He's accommodating, gives me access to service corridors, emergency exits, security office. I arrive at 2 in the afternoon, park in the visitor lot, walk in through the main entrance like a man with a clipboard and a reason to be there. The hotel feels wrong immediately, too quiet, too empty. The kind of place where sounds echo and you notice every door that opens. Fluorescent lights hum, ice machines clank. Conference rooms sit dark with stacked chairs visible through the windows. I check in with the front desk. Show my credentials. The clerk gives me a security access card for restricted areas and tells me to let them know if I need anything. I start my walkthrough on the second floor. Conference wing, empty ballrooms, service corridors with industrial carpet and that chemical cleaning smell. My phone buzzes. Text from the parking lot security cam notification I set up. Maren's car just pulled in. I move to a service stairwell. Wait, watch through the small window. 5 minutes later, Maren walks through the lobby. She's dressed business casual, carrying an overnight bag. She doesn't check in at the desk. She goes straight to the elevators. 30 seconds later, Vale follows the same path. They don't arrive together, but the timing is synchronized, practiced. I wait 2 minutes, then I follow. The elevator indicator shows they stopped on the 4th floor. I take the stairs. Service access. Move quietly. 4th floor is residential rooms, not conference space. The hallway is long and dim. Afternoon light filters through windows at each end. I hear voices. Turn a corner carefully. Maren and Derek are at a room halfway down the hall. He's holding the key card. She's laughing at something he said. They go inside. I take a photo from a public hallway. Not voyeurism. Just documentation of 2 people entering a hotel room together during a work event that isn't happening. Timestamp 2:37. I should leave. I have what I need. Proof, pattern, evidence that can't be explained away. But I don't leave. I move closer. Not to the door, to the service corridor entrance at the end of the hall. I want to see how long they stay. I want to confirm this isn't a 5-minute conversation about vendor logistics. The door to the service corridor is propped open with a housekeeping cart. I slip through. Find myself in the maze of back hallways that connect the floors, concrete walls, low ceilings, the spine of the building where guests never go. I walk slowly. Check emergency exits, test door locks, do the inspection I said I was here to do. 15 minutes later, I hear footsteps. Heavy, fast, male. I turn. Vale is 20 feet behind me in the service corridor. No smile now, just cold assessment. Caleb, he says, interesting place for a walk? My heart rate spikes, but my voice stays calm. I'm doing a facilities inspection. You? Following the guy who's been documenting my girlfriend's hotel visits. She's my wife, I correct. Not for long, Derek says. He steps closer. You need to understand something. Maren made a choice. She chose better. You can either accept that with dignity or make it ugly. But either way, you've already lost. I don't move. I'm here for work. You're here violating vendor access protocols. That's a compliance issue, not a relationship issue. Derek laughs. Short. Mean. You think filing paperwork makes you powerful? You think compliance reports scare me? They should. He closes the distance between us. Gets in my space. The aggression is physical, but calculated. He's not swinging. He's threatening. Testing whether I'll fold. Walk away, Derek says quietly. Or this gets worse for you. I have a security access card, I say. I'm authorized to be here. You're not. Which one of us has the problem? His expression shifts. Calculation, annoyance. I start walking past him. Not running, not backing down, just moving like a man who has work to do. He grabs my shoulder. I turn. Touch me again, and I'll report physical intimidation to security with timestamps from the hallway cameras. He lets go, but his eyes promise this isn't over. I walk to the nearest exit. Find stairs, take them down 2 at a time. Behind me, I hear his footsteps following. The stairwell is narrow. Concrete echo. Emergency lighting every few floors. I reach the ground floor, push through the door into a lobby area. Public space, people, safety. Derek emerges 10 seconds later, sees me standing near the front desk with the clerk watching. He stops, adjusts his expression, walks past like we're strangers. I wait 5 minutes. Then I leave through the main entrance, get in my car. My hands are shaking now, adrenaline catching up. I sit there breathing slowly, replaying the encounter, the threat, the attempt at physical intimidation. Then I pull out my phone and email security, attach the hallway photo, request camera footage from the service corridor showing Derek following me after I identified myself as facilities staff. Subject line, vendor harassment incident report. I don't write it angry. I write it clinical, time, location, description, request for follow-up. The machine doesn't care about ego, it cares about documentation, and Derek just gave me more documentation. I drive home, hands steady now. Mind clear. Maren will come home tomorrow with stories about professional development. Derek will pretend nothing happened, but the report is filed. The pattern is growing, and the consequences are moving whether they see them or not. I smile in the rearview mirror, not from happiness, from the cold satisfaction of knowing the trap is already closing. Monday morning, I get a call from hospital security. John Mercer, supervisor. He's worked with me for 3 years. Good guy, former military, doesn't tolerate nonsense. Got your incident report from Friday, he says, about the hotel situation. Yeah, I reviewed the camera footage. Derek Vale followed you into a service corridor and engaged in what looks like physical intimidation. That's not okay. What are my options? I ask. Officially, I can file a formal harassment complaint. It goes to HR and compliance. It also triggers a review of his vendor access privileges pending investigation. How long does that take? 72 hours for temporary suspension, longer for permanent revocation if the complaint is sustained. Do it, I say. You sure? This creates paperwork, questions. People will know there's an issue. I'm sure. John is quiet for a moment. For what it's worth, Caleb, Derek Vale has been on our radar before. This is the 3rd incident report with his name attached. Patterns matter. That's what I'm counting on. The call ends. I go about my day, fix a door lock, check emergency lighting, file routine maintenance logs. At 11, I get a notification. Derek Vale's vendor badge has been temporarily suspended pending investigation. At 11:40, I'm near the main staff entrance when I see it happen. Derek walks up to the security checkpoint, confident, smiling, scans his badge, red light, access denied. He tries again. Same result. The security guard checks his screen. Sir, your credentials are flagged. You'll need to speak with the security office. Derek's smile disappears. There must be a mistake. No mistake, sir. Temporary suspension? Please step aside. Derek looks around, sees people watching. His face goes through stages. Confusion, anger, humiliation. He argues for 30 seconds. Gets nowhere. The guard is polite but immovable. Derek finally walks away, jaw tight, hands clenched. I watch from 20 feet away. He doesn't see me, but I see him. The untouchable confidence is gone, replaced with something uglier, fear that people witnessed his access denied. It's not physical violence. It's not assault. It's just a system enforcing rules. But the humiliation is real, and public, and permanent in the way institutional memory works. I go back to my office, file another routine report, note that vendor protocol enforcement was successfully observed at main entrance. At 3, Maren calls me. Her voice is sharp. What did you do? I filed an incident report about vendor harassment, standard safety protocol. Derek's badge was suspended. That's what happens when vendors violate access rules and engage in physical intimidation. Caleb, this is insane. You're destroying his career over him following me into a service corridor and threatening me, I interrupt. Over him violating vendor boundaries by accessing a hotel during a fake conference to carry on an affair with a hospital administrator. Which part should I have ignored? She's silent. Derek made choices, I continue. Those choices have consequences, same as yours. There's a compliance meeting scheduled, Maren says quietly. Friday, I have to give a statement. So do I. Caleb, please, you don't understand what this will do. I understand exactly what it will do, I say. That's why I filed the report. I hang up. For the first time in weeks, I feel something like control returning. Not power, I'm not powerful, I'm just a guy who understands that systems work when you use them correctly. Derek tried to intimidate me physically, so I used the system to make him feel watched, constrained, vulnerable. He wanted me to feel small, so I made him feel exactly what I felt, helpless against processes he can't charm his way out of. It's not violence, it's not dramatic, it's just revenge in the language systems, understand, documentation, consequences, enforcement, and it feels better than any punch would have. Friday at 10, fourth floor conference room, compliance wing. The room is small, windowless, aggressively neutral, gray table, office chairs, a single plant that looks plastic. Rita Hargrove sits at the head of the table with a laptop and a folder that's thick enough to be a weapon. She's 48, severe, and has the expression of someone who's heard every excuse and believed none of them. John Mercer is here as security liaison. A compliance analyst I don't know sits taking notes. Maren arrives exactly on time, dressed in her professional armor. She doesn't look at me. Derek isn't here. His company sent a representative instead, a corporate lawyer type in a forgettable suit. Rita starts without preamble. We're here to review incident reports and compliance concerns regarding vendor access protocols. Mr. Ward, you filed the initial report. Walk me through it. I present facts. No emotion. No editorializing. Date and time. Derek followed me into the service corridor. Description of the physical intimidation attempt. My identification as authorized facilities staff. Derek's disregard for that identification. I provide the hallway photograph, the timestamp, the security camera footage John pulled showing Derek pursuing me. Rita takes notes. Her face reveals nothing. Mrs. Ward, Rita says, you signed Derek Vale into restricted areas twice in the past 6 weeks. Off-calendar access. No documented business purpose. Explain. Maren keeps her composure. Derek was meeting with me to discuss vendor logistics. The meetings were informal, but legitimate. Why weren't they calendared? Oversight. Why did they occur in restricted areas? We were touring spaces for potential equipment placement. Rita looks unimpressed. You're an administrator, not a purchasing agent. Equipment placement isn't your department. Maren's jaw tightens. I was facilitating communication between departments. Without documentation? Silence. Rita flips through her folder. Mr. Vale has 2 other complaints filed at separate institutions. One for inappropriate personal contact with hospital staff, another for undisclosed vendor gifts. This creates a pattern. The corporate lawyer shifts. Those complaints were investigated and deemed unsubstantiated. They were deemed insufficient for termination, Rita corrects, not the same as unsubstantiated. And now we have a 3rd incident involving physical intimidation and protocol violations. She closes the folder, looks at Maren. Mrs. Ward, you're aware that vendor relationships require disclosure. Any gifts, meals, travel, or personal relationships must be reported to compliance? Yes. And you reported none of these meetings with Mr. Vale? Maren hesitates. They were professional. That's not what the question was. I watch Maren realize she's trapped. Every answer confirms violations. Every denial creates more questions. Rita continues. Our investigation also identified a weekend conference at the Lakeside Hotel. You attended. Mr. Vale attended. The conference was canceled 3 days prior. Yet both of you were present at the hotel. Would you like to explain that? Maren's face goes pale. That was personal time. Funded how? Personal funds. Mr. Vale's company reimbursed his travel. That creates a disclosure issue. The corporate lawyer interjects. Mr. Vale's travel was for client relationship building. That's standard industry practice. Rita looks at him like he just said something unfortunate. Client relationship building that involves spending weekends at hotels with hospital administrators requires disclosure. That's standard compliance practice. She turns to John. Security recommends? Permanent badge revocation for Derek Vale. Formal warning for any staff member who facilitated improper access. Rita nods, types something. This audit also triggered a review of Mr. Vale's other hospital contracts. 3 additional institutions have flagged similar concerns. His company is being notified that future vendor relationships will require enhanced oversight. The corporate lawyer's expression finally changes. That's not a local problem. That's a career problem. Rita closes her laptop. Mr. Ward, thank you for your cooperation. Your facility access remains unchanged. Mrs. Ward, you'll receive a formal letter outlining disciplinary action. This meeting is concluded. We file out. Maren leaves immediately. Doesn't look at me. Derek's lawyer follows her, already on his phone. John catches my arm in the hallway. That was clinical, he says quietly. That's the point. You understand what you just did to your wife's career? She did it to herself, I say. I just filed the paperwork. John nods slowly. For what it's worth, Derek had this coming. Guy's been a problem for years. I go back to my office, sit at my desk, stare at nothing. The revenge feels hollow. Necessary, but hollow. Maren faces disciplinary action. Not termination, not ruin, just consequences. Derek faces professional blacklisting, multiple hospitals flagging his conduct, his company now dealing with liability questions. It's clean, legal, documented, and it's just the beginning. Because in 2 weeks, there's a foundation gala, public event, donors and board members and professional reputations on full display. That's where this ends, not in a conference room, in front of everyone who matters. I pull up the gala invitation, RSVP as attending. Then I text Nora. Compliance meeting done. Derek's badge revoked. How do you want to play the gala? Her reply is immediate. Leave that to me. You just show up. I set my phone down. The machine keeps moving. And I'm starting to understand that the best revenge isn't dramatic. It's systematic. Saturday morning, Nora texts me. Coffee, same place. Urgent. I arrive at the 5th Street coffee shop at 9. Nora is already there, laptop open, expression grim. I found something, she says without preamble, about Derek and Maren. What? She turns the laptop toward me. On screen, an email thread, forwarded from Derek's work account to his personal account. Nora must have accessed it through their shared family account cloud sync. The emails are between Derek and Maren, not love letters, business correspondence. Subject line, compliance workarounds. I read through them slowly. Derek asking Maren about internal purchasing timelines. Maren providing non-public information about competing vendor bids. Derek thanking her with details about a wine tasting weekend. Another email, Derek asking Maren to arrange after-hours building access for product demonstrations. Maren confirming times and entrance codes. A third, Derek sending Maren gift cards for a spa. Her reply, you shouldn't, but thank you. I look up. This isn't just an affair. No, Nora says. Derek was using Maren to get competitive advantages, insider information, access that bypass normal vendor channels. Everything in those emails is a compliance violation. Some of it might even be fraud. Maren knew? She participated. Whether she understood the full implications, maybe not, but she wasn't innocent. I sit back. Process this. The affair was bad. The protocol violations were worse. But this? This is Maren actively helping Derek cheat the system, providing information that could have cost other vendors contracts, accepting gifts that should have been disclosed. This is what she's really afraid of, I say quietly. Exactly. Not people knowing she cheated. People knowing she compromised her professional integrity for a vendor relationship. That kind of label follows you everywhere. It's career-ending. Have you sent this to compliance? Not yet. I wanted you to decide. I stare at the screen. Why? Because this is the nuclear option, Nora says. If this goes to compliance, Maren doesn't get a formal warning. She gets terminated. Maybe worse if it's considered fraud. And Derek? Derek gets blacklisted from the entire industry. Multiple lawsuits. Probably criminal investigation depending on what else they find. I think about Maren, the woman I married, the woman who turned me into furniture while building a second life with a man who saw her as an access point. I think about Derek, the smug smile, the physical intimidation, the pattern of using people and walking away. Send it, I say. Nora hesitates. You're sure? She made these choices. He manipulated them, but they both chose to do this. They both deserve consequences. This is permanent, Caleb. Once compliance has it, there's no walking back. Good. Nora nods slowly. Forwards the email thread to Rita Hargrove's compliance address. Copies John Mercer in security. Adds a short note. Additional documentation regarding Derek Vale vendor violations. Time-stamped emails showing information sharing and improper access arrangements. She hits send. How long until they review it? I ask. Monday at latest. Rita doesn't let things sit. We sit in silence for a moment. Derek's going to know you sent it, I say. Let him. He'll come after you. He'll have bigger problems, Nora says, and I'm not afraid of my brother. I believe her. There's something cold and resolved in her expression. She's made peace with burning this bridge. The gala is still happening, I say. Derek will probably still attend. His company sponsors a table. He won't want to look like he's hiding. And Maren? Administrators are required to be there. She won't have a choice. I think about that. Both of them in the same room. Public event, cameras everywhere. And by then, the new compliance review will have started. This is going to get ugly, I say. It's been ugly, Nora corrects. This is just making the ugly visible. I finish my coffee. Stand. Thank you for helping, for not protecting him. I'm not protecting him, Nora says. I'm stopping him. There's a difference. I leave the coffee shop with the understanding that the revenge has evolved past personal satisfaction. This isn't about hurting Maren anymore. It's about exposing a system of manipulation and ensuring consequences stick. Derek used Maren. Maren used hospital resources. They both gambled that no one would notice or care enough to document it. They were wrong. And the gala is going to be where everyone sees exactly how wrong they were. The Hospital Foundation Gala is held at the Riverside Event Center. Black tie, donor tables, silent auction. The kind of event where reputations are displayed like jewelry. I arrive at 6:30. I'm wearing a suit I bought 3 years ago for these exact events. Dark, forgettable. The camouflage of support staff who are required to attend but expected to blend into the background. Security is tight, name badges, table assignments. Photographers at the entrance capturing arrivals for the Foundation website. I check in, get my badge. I'm seated at a general staff table near the back. Maren is at an administrator table near the front. Derek's company sponsors Table 7, which has a small placard with their logo. The room is elegant. High ceilings, crystal chandeliers, round tables with white linens and centerpieces that probably cost more than I make in a week. I find my table. Make small talk with coworkers who look uncomfortable in formal wear. We're all here because attendance is strongly encouraged for staff. At 7, the doors open for VIP arrivals, board members, major donors, senior administration. Maren enters with a group of administrators. She's wearing a navy gown, hair perfect, makeup immaculate. The image of professional success. She doesn't see me, or she's pretending not to. At 7:15, Derek arrives. He's wearing a tuxedo that fits perfectly. Confident smile, shaking hands, working the room like a man who owns it. He doesn't know yet. The new compliance review started Monday, but the investigation is still pending. He thinks he survived the badge suspension. He thinks the worst is over. He's wrong. At 7:30, John Mercer appears at my table. He's in his security supervisor uniform, but he's carrying an envelope. "Caleb," he says quietly. "Rita wants to see you. Security office. Now." I follow him out of the ballroom, through a service corridor, into the small security office behind the event center. Rita Hargrove is there. She looks even more severe in evening professional attire. "Mr. Ward," she says, "the email documentation we received Monday has accelerated the investigation. We've confirmed multiple violations, undisclosed gifts, information sharing, access manipulation. Both Mrs. Ward and Mr. Vale are facing immediate action." "What kind of action?" "Mrs. Ward is being placed on administrative leave pending full investigation. Mr. Vale is being issued a permanent trespass notice for all hospital properties. That includes this event center." "You're removing him? Tonight?" "Security will deliver the notice during the cocktail hour. Quietly, but publicly enough that witnesses will note it." I absorb that. "And Maren. She'll be notified after the event. We're not creating a scene, but her access badge will be deactivated at midnight." This is really happening. "This is appropriate enforcement," Rita corrects. "The violations are documented. The consequences are proportional. This isn't personal, it's procedural." She hands John the envelope. "Deliver this to Mr. Vale in 15 minutes. Public area, multiple witnesses. No drama." John nods. Takes the envelope. Rita looks at me. "You started this. I need to know. Is there anything else? Any other evidence? Any other connections?" I think about the hotel photos, the timeline documentation, the folder Nora gave me. "No," I say. "Everything I have, you have." "Good. Then this is concluded from your end. Go back to the event. Enjoy your evening." I return to the ballroom, sit at my table, watch the room. At 7:45, I see John approach Derek at the sponsor table. He's professional, polite, hands him the envelope. Derek opens it, reads. His face changes. Anger, disbelief. He looks around, sees people watching. The envelope is official hospital letterhead. Whatever he's reading, it's not good news. John says something. Derek replies sharply. John maintains his position, calm, immovable. Derek stands, tries to walk past. John intercepts, not physically, just positioning. a reminder that security presence isn't optional. Other people at Derek's table are watching now, whispering. Derek's face goes red. He says something I can't hear. John responds with the same professional calm. Finally, Derek shoves the envelope at John and walks toward the exit. Not running, but moving fast enough that people notice. The room buzz changes, speculation, curiosity. At Derek's sponsor table, the corporate representatives look uncomfortable. One of them is on his phone immediately. I watch Maren across the room. She's talking to a donor, but her eyes track Derek's exit. Her smile is frozen. She knows something just happened. She doesn't know what, but she knows it's bad. At 8, the formal program begins. Speeches, donor recognition, silent auction announcements. Maren is called to the stage as part of the administrator presentation. She delivers her remarks perfectly. Poised, professional, the image of institutional success. But I see the tension in her shoulders, the way her eyes scan the room like she's looking for threats. At 9, during the dinner service, John appears at my table again. Derek tried to re-enter through the south entrance, he says quietly. We stopped him. He's been formally trespassed. Police were notified as a precaution. Is he gone? He's in the parking garage, making calls, probably to his company lawyers. What about Maren? She'll find out at midnight. We're letting her finish the event. Professional courtesy. I nod. Go back to picking at food I can't taste. At 9:30, I see Maren excuse herself from her table. She walks toward the restrooms, or maybe the exit. I wait 2 minutes, then I follow. She's in a side corridor, on her phone, pacing. I don't know what happened, she's saying. He just left. No, I can't talk now. I'm at the gala. I'll call you after. She ends the call, turns, sees me. Her expression goes through stages, surprise, fear, anger. Caleb. Maren. What are you doing here? Same thing you are, attending a required event. She steps closer, lowers her voice. Did you do something? Is this you? I filed incident reports. I documented protocol violations. The system did the rest. Derek just got trespassed. Do you know what that means? It means he violated access rules and got caught. It means his career is over. It means my name is attached to this disaster. You attached your name, I say calmly. I just made sure the paperwork was accurate. She looks at me like I'm a stranger. You've destroyed everything. No, I documented everything. There's a difference. This is revenge. This is consequences, I correct. You wanted to pretend I was invisible? Congratulations. The invisible guy knew exactly how to make systems work. She opens her mouth, closes it. The professional composure cracks slightly. What happens now? She asks quietly. You go back to the gala. You finish your evening. At midnight, your access badge deactivates and you're placed on administrative leave pending investigation. After that, I don't know. That's up to compliance. They can't prove anything. They have emails, I say, between you and Derek, about competitive bid information, about access arrangements, about undisclosed gifts. They have everything. Her face goes white. How? Derek was sloppy, forwarded work emails to personal accounts, backed up to family cloud storage. His sister found them. Nora? She's tired of cleaning up his messes. Maren leans against the wall. The perfection of her appearance contrasts with the collapse of her expression. I didn't mean for any of this, she says, but you did it anyway. She looks at me, really looks at me. What do you want, Caleb? An apology? Forgiveness? What? I want you to understand who I am, I say quietly. I'm the guy who fixes things when they break. I'm the guy who knows how systems work. I'm the guy you treated like furniture while you gambled with your career. I never meant to hurt you. You just didn't think about me at all. That lands. I see it in her face. The divorce papers will be filed Monday, I say. You'll be served at your lawyer's office, not at work. Professional courtesy. After that, we're done. I turn to walk away. Caleb, she says. I stop. Don't turn around. Did you ever love me? Or was this all just revenge? I think about that. Honest answer. I loved the person I thought you were, I say. The revenge was for the person you actually are. I walk back to the ballroom, leave her standing in the corridor with the ruins of her choices. The gala continues, dessert service, more speeches, dancing for people who like dancing at work events. I don't stay for any of it. I walk out through the main entrance, past the photographers, past the valets, get in my car, drive away from the elegant venue with its crystal chandeliers and its professional networking and its carefully managed reputations. Behind me, Derek is in a parking garage making desperate calls to salvage a career that's already over. Maren is finishing an event she's required to attend, knowing that at midnight her professional life changes forever. And I'm driving home to a house that finally feels like mine again. The revenge isn't dramatic. There's no final confrontation, no violence, no explosion, just systematic documentation, just consequences arriving exactly on schedule, just a man who understood that the best way to win against people who thought he was invisible was to use the one thing they forgot he controlled, the systems they relied on. At 10:15, my phone buzzes. John Mercer. Caleb, we have a situation. Derek just forced entry through a service door. He's in the building. Security is responding, but he's looking for you. How do you know? He's asking staff where you are. Get to a public area, now. I'm in the parking garage. Level 2, walking toward my car. I hear footsteps, fast, echoing off concrete. I turn. Derek is 20 feet away, tuxedo jacket gone, tie loose, face flushed with rage. You, he says. You did this. I keep my keys in my hand, position myself near a concrete pillar with a camera mounted on it. I filed reports, I say calmly. You violated protocols. The system responded. The system? He laughs, sharp, bitter. You mean you manipulated paperwork because you couldn't handle that your wife chose someone better? She chose someone who used her for competitive advantage and got her flagged for compliance violations. Great choice. He moves closer. I shift position. Keep the pillar between us. Keep the camera angle clear. You're going to regret this, Derek says. You've destroyed my reputation, my contracts, my career. You destroyed those things yourself. I just documented it. Documentation? He's shouting now. You ambushed me at a public event. You had me trespassed in front of donors and board members. You humiliated me. You humiliated yourself by thinking rules didn't apply to you. He lunges, not a punch, a grab, trying to corner me against the pillar. I step aside. He's off balance, angry, sloppy. Touch me and security reviews more camera footage, I say. You're already trespassed. Assault makes it criminal. He stops, breathing hard. You think you're smart? You think filing reports makes you powerful? I think understanding systems makes me effective. Behind Derek, I hear voices. Security team. John leading them. Derek hears it too. Looks back. Realizes he's trapped. This isn't over, he says. Yes, it is, I reply. Your badge is revoked. Your company is reviewing your conduct. Multiple hospitals have flagged you. Your sister won't protect you, and your girlfriend is on administrative leave facing termination. You're proud of yourself? I'm satisfied with procedural accuracy. John and 2 other security officers arrive. Mr. Vale, John says, you've been trespassed. You need to leave immediately or we're calling the police. Derek looks at me one last time. The rage is still there, but underneath it, I see something else. Fear. Not of me, of consequences he can't charm away. You're pathetic, he says. And you're escorted off property, I reply. Security walks Derek to the exit. Not roughly, but firmly, professionally. I stand there in the parking garage, fluorescent lights humming. Concrete cold, my hands are shaking. Adrenaline finally catching up. I get in my car, lock the doors, sit there breathing slowly. My phone buzzes. Text from Nora. Heard Derek made a scene. You okay? I reply. I'm fine. He's gone. Good. He needed to be stopped. Thank you for seeing it through. I set the phone down. Drive out of the parking garage. Away from the event center. Away from Derek's rage and Maren's collapse and the professional consequences that are still unfolding. The revenge is complete. Not with violence, not with drama. Just with documents and protocols and systems that work exactly as designed when you use them correctly. I drive home, park in my driveway, walk into a house that feels different now. Lighter, emptier, but mine. The furniture has left. The invisible man who understood systems better than anyone gave him credit for is still standing. And that's enough. Monday morning. I'm at my desk. Coffee, routine maintenance logs, the normal rhythm of work. At 9, Rita Hargrove calls me to her office. I walk through the hospital corridors, past people who don't know what happened at the gala, past administrators who do and are pretending they don't. Rita's office is clinical, organized. No personal items except a single photo of what I assume is her family. Sit, she says. I sit. Derek Vale's company has terminated his employment effective immediately. They're reviewing all his hospital contracts for potential violations. 3 separate institutions have filed formal complaints. His career in medical device sales is effectively over. I nod. Maren Ward has been placed on unpaid administrative leave pending completion of our investigation. The emails provided sufficient evidence of undisclosed vendor relationships and information sharing. Termination is likely. Understood. Rita leans back. Studies me. You didn't break any rules. Every report you filed was legitimate. Every piece of documentation was accurate, but you knew exactly what you were doing. I knew the system would work if I provided correct information. That's one way to describe methodical revenge. I prefer appropriate enforcement, I say. She almost smiles. Almost. The hospital's position is that this matter is closed from a compliance standpoint. What you and your wife do regarding divorce proceedings is personal, but professionally this is concluded. Thank you. One more thing, Rita says. You're good at your job. You understand systems, documentation, consequences. If you ever want to transition into compliance work, let me know. We need people who take protocols seriously. I stand. I'll think about it. I leave her office, walk back through the corridors. At my desk, there's a message. Maren called. No voicemail, just a missed call. I don't call back. At lunch, I get a text from Nora. Derek moved back home. He's broke, unemployed, and blacklisted. My parents are furious. With him, not me. Thank you for seeing this through. I reply. You helped. That mattered. We both stopped something that needed stopping. That's enough. I set my phone down. Eat lunch at my desk. Think about nothing in particular. At 3, John stops by. Heard Rita offered you a compliance position. Word travels. Hospital gossip is faster than email, he says. You considering it? Maybe. Right now I'm just doing my job. Fair enough. He pauses. For what it's worth? What you did took guts. Most people would have just left quietly. I didn't want to leave quietly. I noticed. He leaves. I finish my shift, file logs, check cameras, close maintenance tickets. At 6, I drive home. The house is quiet. Maren's things are still here. She hasn't moved out yet. Probably staying with friends while she figures out what comes next. I don't care. I make dinner, simple, just for me. Eat at the table I paid for. Watch TV I want to watch. Sleep in a bed that feels bigger and better without the weight of betrayal pressing down on it. Tuesday, the divorce papers are filed. Wednesday, Maren is officially served. Thursday, her lawyer calls mine to discuss settlement terms. I don't negotiate. I want clean separation, half of shared assets, no alimony, no prolonged contact. She agrees, probably because she knows fighting would expose more details publicly. Friday, I get confirmation. Derek's vendor access has been permanently revoked at 17 hospitals in the network. His company's contracts are under review. His professional reputation is destroyed. Maren's termination is official. Administrative leave converted to separation. No severance, no references. Just an ended career that started with ambition and ended with compliance violations. The consequences are complete. I didn't need violence. I didn't need rage. I didn't need anything except understanding that systems work when you use them correctly. Derek thought he was untouchable. Maren thought I was invisible. They were both wrong. And now they both understand exactly who I am. The man who fixed things when they broke. The man who knew how cameras worked and protocols mattered and documentation always wins. The man they underestimated until it was too late. I stand in my kitchen. My house. My life. Pour coffee. Look out the window at a neighborhood that looks the same but feels different. I'm not happy. Not yet. Maybe not ever in the way I was before, but I'm satisfied. The system always wins. And I'm the guy who remembered that when everyone else forgot.